All right, for more on the Buds and a few other subjects, but mostly the Maple Leafs because this is TSN, here is Leafs alumni and current co-host of Overdrive on TSN Radio in Toronto, my good friend, Jeff O'Neill. Jeff, great to see you. First of all, 2 buttons undone. This is a look I've not seen on you too much. Are you coming straight from the club or are you going to the club?
Well, you know, I'm just trying to get myself into the mix with Brian Hayes and Luke Wilson. I'm trying to look stylish, so maybe you'll consider me in the future because those relationships sure are blossoming and they seem to be pretty good right now. So I'm trying to get myself into the mix, Jay.
I believe you're already in the mix, but believe me, we've got something for you later in this segment, and I think you'll agree. We're going to make you look pretty good. Now, the Leafs completed a home-and-home sweep against the mighty Winnipeg Jets. 4 big points for Toronto. But judging from your radio show on Monday, Jeff, I feel like perhaps the officiating may have overshadowed the final score in your mind. I'd love to get your thoughts on the state of officiating in the NHL right now, especially over the weekend.
Well, I'm not sure about the state of officiating, but what I saw Saturday night was absolutely crazy, Jay. I mean, the play with William Nylander, whenever I see that and I'm on the panel doing a game, I just look at one thing. How did he get to the goaltender? And how he got to the goaltender is he was pushed once, and then they say, well, he didn't really do anything to stop himself. And he was pushed again. There's 1, and then there's 2, and he barely touches the goaltender, and that's waved off. I have no idea how anyone could look at that and say that William Nylander did that on purpose. That one I found bonkers, and then the John Tavares one. I've been around hockey my whole life, around the pro game for the last 30 years. And for John Tavares to get slashed in front of the net and then look at the ref and then the ref say, maybe flex your stick, see if it breaks. I don't know what the back and forth was, but this is just ridiculous. Like to flex your stick like that and break it and then the ref's arm go up. I've never seen it. I've never seen it in hockey. And Jay, my concern is, I mean, I don't want to get crazy here and blow this way out of proportion, but my concern is that there's going to be a call in Game 7 of a playoff series. God forbid the Stanley Cup's not on the line, but some of this nonsense goes on. And the other thing that's bothering me, and I see it a lot, I find the referees, they have no feel for the game. They're just out there looking for penalties time and time again. There are ticky-tack calls where a guy will literally step on a guy's stick and the arm comes up and it's tripping. I do understand there's a standard they have to adhere to, but stepping on sticks and falling down and calling that tripping, one-handed, like hooking a guy that's 6'4", 220, it's just impossible. So I'd like to see the ticky-tack calls go away. And that nonsense I saw on Saturday night, I hope that stops rather quickly.
I love what you said about the feel for the game. That was kind of what I wanted to ask you. Like, compared to when you played, do you feel that's a big part of what's been lost for refereeing at this point? Just that sort of feel for the game, the knowledge of exactly when to call penalties and not?
It's so much different, Jay. I mean, not that it was right or wrong or whatever, but there was relationships and respects with the referee where you could kind of verbalize your frustration in not such a friendly manner. And the referee could do it right back to you and just say, get in the box, and there might be a few swear words involved. But there was just that back and forth and kind of a respect, but in the same way you could voice your frustrations. Now it seems like you can't talk to the referee, you can't say anything. And I just find the penalties that are being called, there's a difference of like having a feel for the game and understanding what's going on there, as opposed to just going out there and looking like you just want to call penalties. I find there's way too many penalties in today's game. It's a special teams contest majority of the nights, and I don't really enjoy watching that. I mean, sometimes I have to, but I would prefer to watch a good 5-on-5 physical game. Maybe there's some greasy stuff that might get let go, but then you're also taking the chance that things could get out of hand. But that doesn't really happen in today's NHL. I'd like to see a little bit more of a feel for the game. It's just not there.
Okay, let's move on to Auston Danger Matthews. Scores his NHL leading 40th goal on Saturday night. He's on pace to score 70. What are you expecting from him as the season continues on here, Jeff? What are you expecting from Matthews?
I mean, what's saying he's going to stop at this pace? It's incredible. I had a 41-goal season, and I remember thinking after the season was over, like just how incredible it felt. Like literally you're scoring every other night and people are saying to you, what a great season. To have 40 and it's not even February is crazy stuff. And the team has needed him too. So it seems like he might go cold for a period. That's when you know you're really hot. It's like your stretches of going cold, they're not for a week or a month, they're for a period. And he always seems to bounce back, Jay. And just the shot and the ability to score in all different ways, one-timers, quick releases, plays around the net, deke moves. You saw the game in Calgary where he scored 3 goals and he kind of did it in different ways. He's an incredible goal scorer and it's an incredible pace. And to think there's other guys that have had 76, 86, Brett Hull, and of course Wayne Gretzky at 92, that's just off the charts. But if he can rip 70 home, that's an incredible feat.
I still think of 50 and 30. I think of 50 and 39, Jeff. I still can't believe Gretzky did that. I'll never, for the rest of my life, ever get over that he scored 50 goals in 39 games.
I'll never forget the goal, too, against the Flyers, where it was like, was it an empty net where he was going down and he just tossed it in the empty net? Like 50 and 39 is outrageous.
Insane.
Crazy stuff.
It's insane.
It is.
Ilya Samsonov picking up both of those wins against Winnipeg, 24 saves Saturday. Does he look to you, Jeff, like he has regained that confidence that he admitted he had lost?
I mean, what an incredible 3 games for him. The question is, and I talked with Noodles a little bit about it today on the show, it's like, when can you look at him and feel comfortable in saying that he's back and he can be trusted?
Yeah.
It's like, does Martin Jones just go somewhere else now when Wall comes back? But I'll tell you what, I was very kind of anxious to see him come back and get in the net to see what could happen, because there was a game in Columbus, there was one in Buffalo where you're like, this could be Jack Campbell territory where it's game over. It goes on waivers, nobody claims him. So you got to give the staff and the goaltending coach and everybody that was involved with prepping him mentally and physically for this, because it seems like it's working. The one thing is, Jay, the one test of this is going to be what happens when he bobbles, what happens when there's a stumble. Can he have a response and get back in the net, whether it be the next shift, the next period, the next game, and return to any kind of form, because that's going to be the big test.
So it sounds to me like if you were Sheldon Keefe, you'd be a little hesitant to let Martin Jones go anywhere just based on the fact that you're just not exactly sure whether or not Samsonov truly is back, as you said to Noodles on the radio today.
Well, things in the big leagues aren't fair, as I'm sure you know, but it's like Martin Jones came up and basically saved their season. It doesn't seem like it's right for him just to be tossed aside and say, go play somewhere else, because he bailed those guys out and helped them out a lot. I think the question mark is going to be, where's Joseph Wall at? I don't think he has anything kind of deserved or feel that he's owed, where he just comes back and takes a position. He's got a long way back from his health and to find his game, and for everyone to trust him to go into the net in big-time situations. The Maple Leafs don't really have that cushion they've had in years past where they can have this wait-and-see approach with whoever they're putting in net. They need wins, and they need a guy to go in the net and get the job done.
Jeff, a lot of people are talking about the fact that, okay, so the Leafs are 4th in the Atlantic. They've currently got that first wild card spot. And there seems to be a lot of people on the fence of whether this team should even go for it in a massive way at the trade deadline this year, or whether they should just accept what they've got, ride it out, and see what happens. Where do you stand on that one?
It's a fantastic question, and it's a big-time dilemma to look at the team. I mean, you've got Auston Matthews and Mitch Marner and all these players in their prime. John Tavares is now he is on the downturn. So it's like, what do you do with it? You're going to mortgage more future, whether it be the, Cowan or Minton or first-round picks. I don't even know when they have one. But that's what Brad Treliving has to figure out. Like, is it worth the shot? I think when you got a guy like Auston Matthews who can kind of lead the charge and be that guy, although none of these guys have really done it in the playoffs, it's the big question they have to figure out. The one thing I would like to do is put two quality defensemen on this squad and see what that looks like.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you can get a real fair assessment of what the team is until you shore up that blue line, and then you look at it and you might say, this might be something. It is a gamble doing that because you're going to have to give something up. And the other thing is who is available.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about what's available in Calgary or what's not. So those are the things you have to look at. What's available? What's it going to cost? But I would like, because if you see this team on paper and the top two lines are playing well, you're like, that's a pretty formidable group up front, but it's like you would never know what they can do without a proper decor that can get them the puck and do the job defensively. So until that happens, you're never really going to know what this group is all about.
All right, let's move on to, let's talk about the Jets. So they lose a couple games to the Leafs. They've lost 3 in a row. They've lost 4 of 6, actually. I kind of look at it and think, well, eventually they had to stumble a little bit. Is that how you feel, Jeff, or do you actually think this is something that the Jets fans should be concerned about?
I don't think so. I think they've got something in place now where everybody trusts it and they know it works. They've dealt with some injury problems, Jay, right before the All-Star break. And it's crazy how teams like Winnipeg, who, and you could throw Edmonton in the same boat, where in years past it's like, how many points can we get? How many goals can we score? And how many times can we light the lamp? And the Edmonton Oilers and the Winnipeg Jets have both realized it's about competition level. It's about everyone on the same page. And it's about commitment to defense. How many games or how many times have you seen this year or talked about it, the streak they had of 3 or less? It's like, you've never talked about that for the Winnipeg Jets or the Edmonton Oilers for that matter, the way they're playing and competing defensively. I think it's just a bump in the road for these guys. And once the All-Star break is over, you get Scheifele back and some different guys back, and I think they'll be fine. They got that goaltender back there who's just incredible. And he's always going to be a guy in the net that gives him a chance to respond from a blip on the screen.
Can I ask you about Drew Doughty's comments about his team, considering the fact that the team did not seem to respond, at least immediately, to those comments? They lost again on Sunday. Jeff, the LA Kings, of course, is the team I'm talking about. Looking at that team from afar, literally, geographically, we don't get to see them as much. They play late in our time zone. Can you put a finger on exactly what's wrong? I look at that lineup, Jeff, and I think there's a lot of talent there. How could they be this bad?
Well, when something like that happens, I always think, like, when it really falls off a cliff like that, because I can remember talking to someone at the beginning of the year, and the LA Kings came up, and the comment was, I can't see anyone beating the LA Kings 4 times right now if the playoffs started today. And I completely agreed. They were on fire. They were picking up wins. Everyone was dialed in. And then when it falls off, my first question is, like, is something wrong there? Like, did something happen? Is there an internal problem where somebody doesn't like somebody? Or is it a coach they don't like? Because it's such a fall off, you have to wonder what's going on inside the locker room. I love the Drew Doughty comments because it holds everyone accountable. And Drew is a guy that's he's won Norris trophies, he's won gold medals, and he understands that everyone kind of has to hold themselves accountable. And he'll be the first guy to go out and play his best after those comments. The other thing is, Jay, they need a save. You can't play this game the way the game is played now. You got to get a save. Why they thought that goaltending situation out there was going to work, I'm not sure, because I wouldn't have believed in it.
Yeah.
But they did it, and they got to fix it, and you can't get out of a slump without a save here or there. It's just impossible.
Your friend, your co-host, Brian Hayes, he has a brand new segment on our show, Harvey's Hot Takes. It's been a huge sensation, as you know, Jeff. And last week...
I wouldn't go as far as saying sensation.
Okay. All right. Seems positive, though. Very positive feedback, especially for Hayes' hot take last week, Jeff, where he said Sidney Crosby should move on from the Pittsburgh Penguins. Is that a hot take that you support?
I absolutely do support it. I think that things should have been different in Pittsburgh 3 or 4 years ago. It's like as soon as they started making the playoffs and getting bounced in the first round, you saw that with Chicago Blackhawks. They make the playoffs, they get bounced in the first round, and it's difficult to do. You never really want to recognize to your fan base that the downturn is coming. But for the Pittsburgh Penguins, I think the sample size is big enough where even an incredible season by Sidney Crosby, you might crawl into the playoffs, but some team is going to wax you in the first round. I don't really love their goaltending. They seem like they don't get down the ice with enough pace, up and down the ice with enough pace, but I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do there. You've got some big-time names, some franchise players that are locked in for a couple years. And that's what happens when the team gets to this situation. You got some key guys that you've done so much winning with, and it's hard to say, Letang, go play somewhere else, or maybe it's time for you to go somewhere else. Gino Malkin, same thing. And then they come back, and you're in the situation you're in. It's a difficult thing to kind of retool or do something different. I'd love to see Sid do something different, play with another team. But, even the franchise, Jay, you look at it, it's like, before Sid got there, the Pittsburgh Penguins, they were in big-time trouble.
Yep.
There was talk of, like, folding up shop there. And then he got there and kind of saved the day. They got a new building, and the rest is history. But what they're going to do with that, that's a tricky one. But I think it would be kind of cool to see Sid kind of, I don't know if it's Tom Brady, Tampa Bay, but it would just be something different.
Yeah, I love that idea, actually. Okay, buddy, one more thing here. I know you guys have had a lot of fun with Brian Hayes, your radio co-host, and the picture that we had our graphic artist put together, you dispute whether this is Hayes' actual body. You're questioning that, is that right?
I am really questioning everything, the face, the hair, and the body.
Well, this is a surprise we had for you, Jeff. We had the same artist who put this together, put together one with you and myself, and I gotta say, I think we look dynamite. I think we look incredible. Your thoughts?
Well, maybe I kind of think that is Hayes' real body and stuff, because that is me. There's no doctoring there.
No, exactly.
Correct?
Yes, I agree. This is you, 100%. The artist we just said, just make sure you get an up-to-date picture of Jeff, and he did that. So if you want to use that for like a business card going forward or on your LinkedIn page, by all means, please do so.
Buddy, I've never had a real job. What the hell am I going to have a LinkedIn page for?
Me neither. I don't even know how to get on LinkedIn.
I don't either, man.
You're the best, buddy. Have a great week. Enjoy the All-Star game. We'll see you soon, pal.
All right, see you, Jay.